Now then, a beef is unfolding between ex-Newcastle colleagues Steve Bruce and Dwight Gayle after the striker questioned Steve's tactics during his St James's Park stay. He said, "We're coming at half-time and I think we're 2-0, 3-0 down." And he's like, "Boys, you keep asking for tactics. I don't do tactics. Just put your boots on and work hard." Now, here's the brutal response Steve Bruce gave when asked about Dwight's comments on local Lancashire radio.
Is that the legendary Dwight Gayle, is it, who missed the chance in the quarter-final against Manchester City? Is that the same Dwight Gayle? Okay, interesting. I like how that people make their mind up and a bit more established than what Dwight ever was.
And that came, by the way, after Steve Bruce's Blackpool side had gone to Northampton and won by 2-0. He says, I've only managed 1,050 games, but according to Dwight, I don't know what I'm doing. Let's state an interest here. We are both friends of Steve Bruce, you know, but I can understand why he would be mightily annoyed at that comment.
100%. And first of all, for me, I was under Steve Bruce at Aston Villa. He was amazing to me, and he did get involved in training. He did put on sessions, so I don't know where that's come from Dwight Gayle. And I think when Steve Bruce sees that, he's probably thinking, Dwight Gayle, you were the needy man in the Premier League. You weren't good enough for the Premier League. You had to go down to Championship. Now he's playing in Scotland, isn't he? You weren't good enough for the Premier League. So don't be speaking bad on a manager who's managed over 1,000 games, Jeff. So you're telling me, like, in them 1,000 games and how long he's managed Steve Bruce, he's never put on a session properly? Of course he has. I didn't like that interview from Dwight Gayle. I thought it was
disrespectful.
Yeah, disrespectful, spiteful. I just didn't like it, mate. And Steve Bruce wouldn't have wanted to have a bite back, but sometimes you have to when someone's speaking like that on your name. So fair play to Steve Bruce, and top manager that I worked under.
Yeah, and as you say, look, different managers, I'm sure you know more than I do, put a different emphasis on the importance of tactics compared to the importance of, you know, man management, passion, drive, that sort of thing. But everyone's got a different way of doing it, and Steve's record surely shows that over the years, you know, more successfully at some places than others, of course, what he does works.
I think as well, sometimes as players, maybe it didn't work for you under a manager and you got a bit of spite towards that manager because you didn't play as much, or do you know what I mean? So you might say things that may be like, was that really true? So I wouldn't imagine a lot of players coming out and speaking like that about Steve Bruce. Well respected in the game, still managing to today. You know, at Blackpool, doing a very good job since he's gone in there. So put some respect on his name.
Yeah, absolutely. And he is doing a good job. And I'll tell you what, the other thing that I find, you know, inappropriate about Dwight's comment, and I don't know Dwight York at all, by the way, is that Steve Bruce and his family have been through a hell of a lot recently.
Exactly.
And I just felt it was so inappropriate
100%
to try to be sticking the knife in
totally agree.
As he was. And I think, again, I don't know, I think most Blackpool fans would say that actually, you know what? He's doing a pretty good job.
I think as well, like you said, Brucey, maybe if it was someone who had had a proper career, then he'd probably listen to them, not someone who failed in the Premier League.
Yeah. I had a little taste of management at the weekend. I was involved in a charity match down at Worthing, and I took charge of a team representing the Rocking Horse charity against a team of Brighton Legends. Do you ever play in Legends football?
I've had a couple of games. I played in a charity game. Last one I played in, Jeff, was when I shoulder barred Louis Tomlinson, and he was sick everywhere, and I was getting death threats off teenage girls. So I try and stay away because I keep tackling too hard.
Well, I mean, we had a great day down there. There was a good crowd, and there were lots of you know, ex-Brighton players, people like from quite a while ago. I mean, Warren Aspinall. I don't know how old Warren is now, but he's still playing. And by the way, he's still got that touch that he had as a player. Guy Butters, Baz Savage, you might remember Baz for his moonwalk that he did in celebrations of goals that he scored, Tommy Fraser. And on our side, we had Joe Wilkinson, John Richardson, comedians, Maisie Adam, Matthew Bainton, and Joe Marler. Now, Joe took it upon himself.
Could he kick a ball?
Yeah, he can, actually. He can. Every pass of Joe's is a no-look pass. Every single one of them. But he took it upon himself to mark Baz Savage. Now, Baz is 6'4" and Joe isn't.
No.
But seriously, all he did was glare at him.
Did he?
Just glare at him. Scared the pants off me, let alone off Baz Savage. But it was a brilliant day. And I finally cracked it. My tactics were spot on because we were losing at half-time. We were losing significantly.
Yes.
So once the referee had counted up the players at half-time, I told one of our substitutes to quietly slip on. So we played all of the second half. Well, most of the second half with 12. We got a 13th player after about 15 minutes, and then a 14th and a 15th. And it wasn't until we had 15 players on the pitch that the opposition spotted that we had 15
Who was
players
the
on the
referee?
pitch. Oh, well, he's proper referee, you know. The great thing was
Clattenburg. Was that about right?
I know. Guy Butters, who was running the Brighton Legends team at that point, when he spotted we had 15 players on, and we still had about 5 substitutes to go, and he said, put them all on. so at the end, there was a wall of blue battering the Brighton Legends, but they still beat us anyway.
That's what you want to see, though, a bit of fun as well in these games.
Oh, yeah.
I took it too seriously. That's why, like, when I showed them hard, Lewis Tomlinson, you got to have a bit of fun with it.
The Brighton boys, they were absolutely brilliant. And by the way, it was a classic moment. Maisie Adam was a great sport. She scored a penalty. She got a good left foot, by the way. Scored a penalty, and she wheeled away, stripped that top off, you know, a la the English girls and things, and waved it around their head, and it absolutely brought the house down. It was absolutely fantastic. So everyone who took part in that, and I think raised around 17 grand on the day for the Rocking Horse charity.
Yes.
Absolutely brilliant. I got to pick man of the match as well, and I didn't pick my son who played in golf for us. There we go. So I'll be in trouble for that.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.